Ta-da, we made it. All right, everybody, I want to introduce myself. I am Sherry Ward, the Director of Development at Easter Seals ARC. And tonight is our final live cooking Zoom for our Culinary Queens event, which, if life was not experiencing pandemic and everything else going on, would be happening this Saturday. So these awesome ladies tonight, along with, if you've caught any of our other weeks, we've had ladies opening their kitchens and their homes, partnering up with a couple of their friends, because if the event was in person, they would be together cooking food, serving you, letting you taste it, tip them to raise money for Easter Seals. And so we're bringing the fun to you since we are following social guideline rules. And we have two ladies together in two different places, total of 4, that are going to open their home tonight, going to share some cooking tips, some drink ideas, something that you can take with you to a family gathering. You can prepare for your family throughout the week. And we're just going to chat it up, have some fun. And all the money raised is going to Easter Seals ARC of Fort Wayne, here in Fort Wayne, as well as Easter Seals Rise up in Angola. I want to go ahead and introduce, at the top of my screen, I have Maria Einolf with Judy Roy. And ladies, just want to give a brief introduction of yourself. You have been queens, I believe, all 3. This is your 3rd year.
Yes.
Are you going to be cooking tonight? You want to tell us a little bit about what you've prepared or going to be sharing with us?
Sure. I'm Maria Einolf, and yes, this is my 3rd year. And actually, I chose the last possible date because I made a hearty beef stew, and it's so warm today, so what I was expecting. But yes, it's actually a Irish Guinness beef stew. And what I did was I made the stew this afternoon, so it's sitting on my stove, and I can show it to you. And then we're just going to kind of show you how I put it together in these little crocks. I know that a lot of people might use ramekins. I don't have them, but I have these cute little Corning squares that were handed down to me. So we'll show you how we put it together. And I actually have one in the oven so that I can show you what the finished one looks like.
Well, it sounds like you guys are going to have some great food over there. Awesome. Thank you. We'll come back. Down here we have Michelle and Colleen. What are you ladies preparing or sharing with us tonight?
Yeah. Oh, so we are going to do a more of an appetizer. So it's a prosciutto wrapped date stuffed with goat cheese, almond slivers, and then you put it kind of over a little bit of basil, drizzle some balsamic over it. So fun.
All sounds fancy. I'm coming to your houses for sure. I love it. Actually, Easter Seals ARC of Northeast Indiana just combined with Rise up in Angola. And so Colleen and Michelle are new to the event, so they've never actually even got to come to the event live. They're so excited to just get to feel for what Culinary Queens is all about, share a little bit about the mission of Rise and all the folks up in the Steuben and DeKalb County, as well as anybody that is supporting these ladies, because all of these ladies you'll find on our website on fortwayne.culinaryqueens.com. You can go to that website, click on the top, it will say Our Queens, and then you can go through and find all of these ladies' pictures and make a donation. And here's the fun fact. Anybody who donates to Colleen or Michelle, the money is staying in Steuben County. But the fun fact is these ladies are competing for top queen. And you say, what does that mean? That means there's going to be 3 ladies crowned this weekend, and it will be on Wayne TV News Saturday morning. The top 3 ladies who raise the most money, all the funds go to Easter Seals. Well, actually, you will crown like a princess, and it will be on the news. So you'll see the top 3 ladies who raise the most money. So help these ladies who open their kitchen. They're going to show us some good food tonight. I'll go back and forth. And I don't know, Maria, you said you have some tips. You want to show us how you put everything together?
Sure.
Great. Miss Judy, you can pop in anytime. This is totally informal.
Okay, so first of all, I told you I made the beef stew.
Is this a family recipe that you guys have that you're sharing with us?
No.
It's a family favorite. How's that?
Well, there you go. Which, as you guys are saying that, I want to also tell you, because I think, Maria, you're one of the recipes that are in the cookbook.
So it's a beef stew. If I tilt it anymore, it's gonna roll.
Looks good.
But it smells really good. Of course, it's a bottle of Guinness stout in there,
That
and
sounds good.
bay leaves and fresh thyme sprigs, and carrots, potatoes, meat, and bacon. And I have to tell you, the first time that I watched, I think one of the shows, Heather Heron.
Oh, Heather Heron, she was our first one. Yeah.
Yeah, she was mentioning anything cooked with bacon has got to be good. And this actually is a full pound of bacon that I baked in the oven. I used some of the grease to brown the meat, so the flavor is all there. And once that's made, these are the crux. Some people might remember this design from
I remember that.
Yeah. So anyway, these I'm using for the actual meal. And this I wanted to show. It's not phyllo dough, but I'm wondering phyllo might work as well. I've just never used it. These are the puff pastry sheets that are by Pepperidge Farm, and they're in the frozen section.
Okay, easy tip there. So then everybody just has their own little serving dish the way you make this.
They do.
I like it.
So one thing is that, these of course this is the unhealthy part of the meal. Everything else is pretty healthy. If you would like to cut down, how do you do that actually? If you'd like to cut down on the amount of carbs or calories, you could put scoops of the stew right in there and then just cut kind of like a square and place it on top. But instead we use the whole sheet.
I think that looks delicious.
It does look delicious.
And actually she will fold that square. There's directions also for thawing it. I use the microwave, and the directions, I had to do a little more than just
what the box said.
So, oh yeah,
I'm gonna let you spray.
there's my blender.
Teamwork.
We thought we better spray it first, otherwise.
Do you guys put any again, I'm not a professional cook, so I may ask the silly questions. Do you put any fork holes in it for breathing, or is that all just an old school?
No. You did it on pie crust, so I know why you're asking that question.
Oh,
but...
see, okay. See, I'm not quite sure. Michelle might be able to offer me. She's you're kind of a professional cook, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
What is what's the saying on that? Why do a lot of people put the fork holes in the pie crust?
Usually if you're baking something that's going to have steam escape, if it's a lot of moisture, that way it doesn't distort your dough. So that way it stays uniform.
Matter. Gotcha.
So we just got scoops of the stew in there, and Judy's going to fold up that pastry. And then I just put it on a baking pan, bubbles over.
That looks good. Nice work, Judy.
I understand.
Oh, and there's one that you just took out.
By the way, also, the directions will tell you and to just brush it on top of there. And I know that's way too hot, but I can show you. I'm going to tilt this. This just came out of the oven about 5 minutes ago when I left. And can you see
Looks
that?
good.
These are for you guys.
So it's basically an individual portion. I will tell you, my husband, they loved it. They ate the whole thing. I ate half of it because I found it was pretty filthy.
Well, I'm excited. You said your recipe, just so anybody knows, there's a recipe book that's compiled from a lot of the queens shared their recipes. And so anybody who donates $100 or more to any of the queens, if you just make a general donation, you will get a cookbook sent out to you after the event. The event ends this weekend. It wraps it up. We crown the top queens. And so then by Thanksgiving, you'll be getting a cookbook in the mail. And this is one of the recipes that's actually in the book. I'm anxious to get it myself.
The one thing I will say is, as far as making it, you can make the stew ahead of time. And then if you're having people over, your kitchen is all clean, you just have to take it out of the refrigerator, heat it up on the stove, and get the pastry seeds, and you're all set. And you can also get some fancier stuff.
I like it. And then you can even use disposable ones, right? Yeah.
So, Yeah.
So this is a family favorite. While you have that, what's a go-to recipe that you have when you go to an event or a gathering? Do you have a favorite one you make that's either easier or people always want you to make?
Why don't you go first? Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking that through, and I don't really have a go-to recipe because I like to try different stuff all the time. But I'll pick out one. A corn and black bean salsa is one of my favorites. Just to throw a bunch of different vegetables together, people love that. So
You can't go wrong with salsa.
Really can't.
And I do an Asian salad that I tend to take places. But this time of year, now that cranberries are out, I make a cranberry salsa that I love. It's basically in a blender or a food processor, and it's cranberries and cilantro, a little bit of red onion, some lime juice, a little, maybe a tablespoon or so of sugar, and you just kind of use a food processor and whip it up, and it's great with tortilla chips.
That sounds delicious, delicious. Hi, Crystal. I see you joining the party down there. Crystal is our executive at Rise. I see you coming over for the fun, not doing any of the work.
Oh, well, I was just out thanking people for supporting us. I didn't even know this was happening. I just happened to be wearing my shirt. I brought a few little things.
This happened to be.
Just swinging by after work for a nice little cocktail.
Good for you. You chose the right house. Well, what I was doing, maybe you can answer, or Michelle or Colleen can answer. I just kind of wanted to, sometimes people get on here for ideas or recipes or best tricks. I was just wondering, what is anybody's, all of yours, go to when we're asked to go to a potluck or a family gathering with Thanksgiving coming up? What's the go-to side dish, or when someone says, please bring
my
this?
mom.
What
I
do you
go to my mom.
What do you bring? Your mom?
I'll let these gals answer it.
I take it's usually a sausage crescent. Well, it depends. If I'm in charge of like the main meal, it's a sausage crescent. It's like if you ever seen a stromboli, it's basically, you can really put anything in it. That's the best part about it. If it's for breakfast, to sausage, mozzarella cheese, some bell peppers, wrap it in the dough, baste it with butter, bake it, and it's so easy. And the presentation is like amazing. So super fun. I get that requested so much. I'm kind of like sick of it.
Well, I think we need to have you guys all come to my gathering.
No way.
Carl just asked, when do we eat? I know, Carl. I wish we could taste it.
Yeah, Michelle is being modest. She's like an actual cook.
Colleen, that's what I
She's
thought.
like a real cook. And she actually does cooking classes and all kinds of stuff.
Get out of here.
Serious.
So when they called, I'm like, oh, Michelle's there. I'm coming.
Well, not this girl. Well, look at these ladies over here. They're going to have a fine dinner at Maria's house.
We're going to drink ours.
Between like both of our groups, we can have like an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert.
I know. We just need to do the drive-through. Everybody picks some up.
Yes.
Well, while those ladies are finishing up their stew, share with us what you got going on over there besides a good time.
So I can go into the, do you want to do the
Yes.
dates first?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to angle the camera down just a little bit so you can see. So I will show you the type, because I think it's, I don't know, I'm always wanting to know like what brand. So I just get Majol dates. Costco has them. I just
Hold
make
that
sure
a little closer to the camera so I can see it.
So is it coming out okay?
Okay, and you said at Costco's where you picked those up?
Yeah, but I mean, you can, I'm sure Meyer has them. I just try to make sure that they're really like a large date, because you want to stuff them with a lot of goat cheese. So a large date, and you want to make sure that it's really nice and moist and pliable. So what we've done is we've cut the dates in half. We pull out the seed if there is one. Then we take the goat cheese, and I got about 4 ounces of the fancy Meyer brand. So 4 ounces will make about 16 to 18 stuffed dates. So what you add to that, what I like to add to it, is sliced almonds. I get the honey roasted slivers. It's found in the salad-ish area. But again, you could do whole almonds, just depends on how much you like. It just gives the inside a bit of a crunch. And so once you mix that up, it's gonna kind of look like that. So the filling, you want it to be together. You don't want it to be too runny, you know, because it has to stay inside the date. And then, but if it's too crumbly, it's super easy. Just add a touch of milk, like just a touch of milk, cream, sour cream, just a little something just to give it a little bit more moisture if it's too crumbly. Nothing you can really do if it's too moist. So err on the side of crumbly goat cheese versus too moist goat cheese.
Runny.
So then,
Those are good tips.
so then we take the filling. Can you see that okay right there?
Yep.
And then we just kind of spoon it inside the date. And we just close it shut like that. There's going to be a little coming out the sides, but we're going to wrap this with prosciutto. And so the prosciutto, once it goes into the oven, is going to condense, like shrink like bacon. And then it's going to kind of, you know, I don't know, just kind of close in all of the cheese and everything inside the date. So we'll do a couple of those, and then I'll show you what it looks like once we wrap it with the prosciutto.
Looks good.
So we'll fill.
I've never had such a thing.
Oh, they're fantastic. And you know what? They're super easy to take to parties, and people are like, oh, it's so fancy.
Look at me, super fancy.
Look at me, super fancy.
Okay, so did you put that
All this in
recipe
my
in the
pantry.
cookbook? Michelle,
A little something I whipped up over here.
did you put that recipe in the cookbook?
I can't remember if I did the sausage crescent or the dates.
You don't remember what you put in there?
Both are fantastic. Both are fantastic. So if you overfill, that's okay. Who doesn't love goat cheese?
Right.
All right, so then your dates are gonna look like that. Now the prosciutto,
would
I
never
just
think
got
that.
the packaged version, and it's going to come in large-ish slices. And if they're too large, sometimes I just cut them in half. So you're gonna kind of get a piece that looks about like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it, and you see that okay?
Yes.
And roll it right around that date, kind of close up the ends. And that's what it's gonna look like once
Kind
you
of
right
fancy looking.
before you put it into the oven. So go ahead and wrap a couple more. And then I have some already done, so I'll show you what those look like.
How long do you put those in the oven?
I do 350 for maybe, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not
You
bad.
definitely, what you want is that in between, you don't want to get them so hot to where the goat cheese kind of melts out of the ends, but you do want the prosciutto cooked, you know, and it'll be a slight caramely, like brown color. So I'll show you what those look like. And then I just take a little platter.
Fun. I have the best job ever.
And then the basil leaves. Can you see that okay on there? So I take the basil leaves. I
You're
put
all
it down
about
here
presentation. You guys are both about your presentation. Very
at
good.
the bottom. And the basil, I mean, I've done it without the basil, but it just adds that freshness to these. That's just really refreshing, I think. So we'll kind of lay those out like that. And then, so the cooked, it will look like that. So once it's done, it's gonna look like a little nugget. There's a little goat cheese coming out the end, but that's okay.
Good.
So then we're just gonna set them on top of the basil leaf.
So I think we'll start with those, and then we'll have some stew. And then maybe some of that
Right?
cranberry salsa.
I love your hair.
And I kind of put some basil leaves going around.
So pretty, Michelle.
And they're
Looks
great. I
good.
mean, you can put them in the fridge, have them the next day.
Okay.
Great.
You know,
I
if
appreciate a
everyone
good
doesn't
next
eat them.
day. Yeah.
Has that ever happened? Have you had any leftover?
Well, one time I got a little overzealous and made like 50. I'm like, and it was for a party for like 10 people. And they're like, we are so stuffed from dates. I'm like, I'm so sorry. So we did have some left over, but rest assured, my husband finished them off the next day.
Well, see,
So
if
then
you
we
can
just
have them afterwards, it's better than not having
Oh.
enough.
Yeah, totally.
What
So
are
the
you putting on there
basil
now?
I use, it is a balsamic glaze.
Okay.
And you can absolutely take your own balsamic and thicken it up. You just put it on the stove and reduce it to like a glaze, you know, to a
Okay.
thick consistency. I just went the easy route because it's already in a bottle.
Which is exactly, that is exactly what she did with this container. and just
Keeping it
packaged
simple.
it herself.
Totally made this myself and I put it in this bottle. So then again, I just kind of drizzle it over top.
It looks
And
so good.
That's what you come out with.
Looks good. That's fancy.
But
Good.
finished
You
product.
guys made it all look easy.
Honestly, those they really are. I mean, especially, and you can do so much of the prep work ahead of time. Pit the dates, mix up your goat cheese and your almond slivers, you stuff them and wrap them the next day, and you're good to go.
Not so bad. Then
This
that
probably wouldn't make 50 for 10 people.
Not 50 of them.
Yeah, sample, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, while you ladies are still carrying at the mic and you're all together, Colleen, you've been a big supporter of Easter Seals Rise. And with a lot of the people being newer just on the event and you guys to Culinary Queens, can you tell us a little bit about Rise, one of your favorite things or a success story what ties you to the agency that you want the people in the area to know that they should be donating and supporting Rise?
Well, Rise, it's a wonderful group of people. The staff, amazing group of individuals, and then the clients are just mind-blowing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you get to know them and you can't help but fall in love. And I remember when I dressed up like an elf and I was like conducting like the Christmas songs, and we were having a sing off with the clients, and it was so fun to be stood up actually. Because you know, he stole this show, Claude.
Yes. Oh yes.
Claude
He
stole
did.
the show. One of their clients. He just took
He
over.
upstaged her.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
How cool.
Wait a minute, did I just say stood up?
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
been stood up.
Anyways, she's
but-
walking that back.
But yes, and it was, you know, it's just a blast. And at Rise, Easter Seals, they have a wonderful art program. So they do a lot of art with the clients, and their work is beautiful. So if you have any room on your wall, or make some room and buy some art, because it's just great stuff.
It's funny because I just met with Bobby Grill today. It was a year ago that you really got involved with Rise, with Easter Seals Rise. And it was through our Rotary, our local Rotary, who they're huge supporters. And they always do this really awesome holiday dinner for us.
Nice.
And 2020 is what it is. And so we've been working really hard, and Sandy Sanborn as well, trying to figure out how we can
make it happen.
Still make it special, but you know, we're not able to do the dinner. We're not able to do those things anymore. And so just today I met with Bobby Grill, and she and I had a conversation about what we were going to do and how we were going to be able to incorporate some of that fun. And so the Rotary will come, and we're going to socially distance, and we're going to be in our workshop area, and folks will be in their stations, but we're going to do some individualized cookies, and everybody gets Santa hats, and they make placemats, and then everyone sings. Yes. And so Colleen, and she has an amazing singing voice, absolutely incredible.
Wow.
And you know, don't be modest. You're really, really good. And so the clients love it. But none of that mattered because Claude decided that he had better plans, and he turned all the carols.
I think he did.
Yeah, he turned all the carols into a round, and she jumped right in, and it was probably one of the most fun events that we had from the Rotary. So it's interesting because that was a year ago. How crazy.
How time flies. Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you have some great memories, and we look forward to you making more. Before we get back to seeing how things are wrapping up, I know both Judy and Maria have been on site. And the one thing, speaking of singing, our Easter Seals Art Choir has performed at the event the last 2 years. I don't know if there's maybe something, and I know that these ladies are from Indiana Tech as well, who is a big supporter of Easter Seals, and we appreciate that support. Is there a memory or something that you maybe want to share that you didn't know until you attended Culinary Queens that you would like other people who maybe have not had a chance to experience Easter Seals Mission that you would want to share with us tonight?
Yeah, I've got it. So my brother-in-law, Tom, it was over 25 years ago that he went into an ARC home, and he lived in an ARC home until a couple of years ago when he passed away. Well, maybe 5 years ago, because at some point in time he moved to a nursing home. And living in an ARC home for Tom allowed him to be like everybody else in his family, have a home, have a place to talk about. He was a big aficionado of classic rock music. He could name every artist. He knew every song. That was Tom's thing. And anyway, it gave him dignity. Being able to live in our home was just an awesome experience for him.
I love that.
So cool.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And that's the thing. Yes, Easter Seals has funding come through, but there's a funding gap. And more so, as you guys can imagine, through the pandemic, it's been a tough year. Challenges of still trying to get the fundraising happening, and other people experiencing their own level of hardship. But hope, like Easter Seals provides hope. And from all levels of someone who utilizes just a few hours of our program to being able to live on site, taking the programs, getting out and getting to have employment, being one of the sponsors and the businesses in the community who are providing employment. To the easiest way I can relate that is I'm blessed to have a child who doesn't have special needs. So I don't have that, but I have the fear of when I can't be there, or, your kid, you want them taken care of when you're not around, or as they grow up, you want them. So to be able to have that even more so when special needs come in and different levels of abilities are out there, to provide that hope for families is what your donations are doing. And you're creating opportunities and helping the growth happen. So when you donate tonight, yes, you're supporting your favorite queen, and yes, they will get the crowns if they're in the top 3, but you are creating hope, and you're getting the mission out there for everybody out there who is utilizing Easter Seals and Fort Wayne Easter Seals Rise. And these ladies have shown some great recipes tonight. I appreciate you opening your homes. If there's anything else that you want to share, please do. Otherwise, I don't want to keep you too long and let you get back to your evening.
I mean, I have something to share. So
Yes.
I'm a queen. Crystal is a queen. My friend over here, Michelle, is a queen. And then also Jenny Sanborn, who couldn't be here because she started partying earlier. So now she's not answering her phone. But what I'm making is, my mom passed away about a little over a year ago, and she gave everybody caramels. So I'm sharing her caramel recipe.
Love it.
And then Jenny Sanborn is doing a tomato pie.
Ooh.
So
Yummy.
So I think we pretty much represent the angle of faction. Of
Yeah.
You guys all came together very well, especially for it being your first year. I love it.
So thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
Absolutely. What were you saying, Maria?
Is it tomato what? I missed that.
Pie.
What is a
Tomato pie. I have
We wanna
never
know
had
more.
tomato pie, but Michelle says
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Have
Speak
you
to
had
it,
her?
speak to it.
So, I mean, I don't know how Jenny makes her tomato pie, but I usually take, it's a great thing to make at the end of the season, just with all, after you've harvested the last of your tomatoes, and you're like, oh, I've canned some, I've done this, I've done that, and you have tomatoes left over. So you salt them just to pull out some of the moisture, layer them in a pie crust, like a normal pie. And then I put on top of mine a mixture of breadcrumbs, mayo, seasoning, and then it kind of melts down into the tomatoes. You bake it. You can put some lettuce over top, but it doesn't sound like, it's amazing.
Well, it makes me think about,
I'm going to her house next.
the Chicago style pizza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that Chicago
It's
style.
like-
with the,
yeah,
oh,
thick.
sounds great.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll tell you what, we better have the event in person next year. And it sounds like your tables need to be near each other, and you get to go by here to taste all these recipes. And you can go on now to fortwayne.culinaryqueens.com, click our queens at the top, find all these beautiful faces. Every single one of them is on there as a queen, raising money. Donate now, $100 or more, and you're going to get that cookbook.
Sherry, are people going to be able to purchase the cookbook even after this is all over?
Here's the truth. Donations will still be accepted through Saturday, because the event is technically Saturday. So if they want to go on and donate $100 to anybody, it will trigger them to get a cookbook.
Okay.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You too. Bye.